Hey, welcome back for episode 5. This is the Gray Space, and today I actually have a very lovely guest, David, and I have my co-host Oscar here, who
Howdy.
will sometimes join us if he wants to or not.
When I can.
Yeah, for reals. So you were mentioning the topic of fat phobia.
Yeah,
It just made us laugh right now. So yeah, just kick that off with that.
Well, it's a thing, People will see it. You have thin privilege,
Oh.
basically.
Are you looking at me?
No.
No, you're not then.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, there's people that fat phobic say I'm thinking, are you afraid of fat people? No.
Right.
You're discriminating fat people. I'm like, how are you discriminating fat people?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I have to, my shirts are 3XL. They're gonna cost more.
Yeah.
Why? More fabric.
Mm.
And
I
for
see.
a person that's small, it's gonna be a little bit of fabric. That's why it's gonna be cheaper.
Mm.
And that's called thin privilege.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
You get it now, right?
Yeah.
Or for people that fly, in airplanes or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they like you're really, really, really heavy. You have to, get 2 seats because they're
Yeah. Book an extra ticket.
Yeah.
fly, first class because you have to be really comfortable. If not, you're gonna take up 2 seats.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thin
Huh.
privilege, or get into a roller coaster
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't fit at all.
Okay.
Gosh.
There's been cases of I think there was one in the news. This woman sued
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Disney World or a roller coaster because they didn't let her get in because there was a weight limit.
Wow.
You're not gonna let a 300 and something pound woman get into a
ride.
a ride
Yeah.
that's going I don't know how fast that could break.
Or she could be hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fat privilege, everyone. I mean, fat
phobia.
Fat phobia.
Fat phobia.
Yeah. I'll
So-
edit that out later.
Yeah. bro.
But yeah, I had no idea that you had these types of things going on in your life. And to be honest, my father, raised me with, I guess, these prejudices against all types of people.
Exactly.
It's very common in the Hispanic culture to go ahead and be so judgmental towards everybody for any reason. It's insane. Like, why can't we just get along? Either you're too Mexican or not Mexican enough. Like, no, I'm literally born for Mexico.
Yeah, and saying that about how Mexicans, Hispanics or Latinos or whatever you want to call yourself, we discriminate each other the most.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing for white people. It's the same thing for black people.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's people like, for me, like the Chicanos, of course, from this side are gonna discriminate a couple of people from the Mexican side. They call them paisas. You
Right.
see it in the prison system.
Mm.
I used to work in prison,
Mm.
and then in the same thing, they
They're very
discriminate.
tribal, right?
It's very, very tribal. Here in the valley, it's the same thing. We have is it 94% Hispanic, right?
Something like that.
Or a
Very-
little bit
very-
more.
That,
already.
that makes sense.
that 1 or 2%, the other,
Mhm.
like black or white.
Or even less, I think.
Yeah, I think we only had like 1 or 2 white person in our high school.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And the rest, if they're white, they're probably from Mexico,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably from Monterrey.
Yeah.
Nuevo León, or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
I
you
know.
just assume like, oh, you're white. It's like, ¿cómo andas?
Yeah. No, and like you said, tribalism. Tribalism exists in Mexico, basically. The northern part and the southern part. That's one very
Right.
big.
It's a very
thing.
distinct difference.
Very distinctive. Spanish.
Oh,
Northern
yeah.
Mexico is more like independent.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Mexico is more how you call it, community-wise.
Mm.
Even if you go back and look at the revolution,
Yeah.
look at the revolutionaries. Zapata.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at his skin color. Everyone was of Mexica, heritage where he lives. Everyone was a community. Pancho Villa, from the lowest class, killed his, the person that I think raped his sister,
Mm.
and he was head of a hacienda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there he's more independent, Pancho Villa, basically. And at the end, they had their own ranchos and all that kind of stuff. So you can see the big difference, and that's why if you get a person that's Chicano from here,
Mm-hmm.
and you put them in Mexico and you let them live in Mexico for for 5 years, it's a whole different experience for them because they're not used to
the
that
culture shock.
Culture shock,
Mm-hmm.
and they understand that culture, but they honestly don't.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We have a border culture. that
Yeah.
we're not
With
used
the
to.
Exactly. Of everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true, man.
And it reflects in politics.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And I think that's why there's a lot of people, how do you call it, that are Latinos. I'm not just including Mexicans. I'm gonna include Puerto Ricans, Cubans.
Sure.
There's a lot of Cubans that voted for Trump. The reason for, they don't want communism,
They,
socialism.
yeah,
Right.
they know the dangers of socialism. They
Yeah.
live through it, and then they get here and they've seen other Latinos be like, yeah, socialism. They're both
Exactly.
Democrat.
Exactly.
They're like, we just escaped from that, you know.
And for honestly, the way you say socialism, the only place that socialism actually worked and is very popular amongst a
Mhm.
lot of leftist leaning people, Chiapas, with
Chiapas.
the Zapatistas and all those kind of people.
You know, I had.
But it's mostly community based. The reason it works for them is because it's been in their blood.
Mhm.
They have a really strong community.
Yes.
Here in the valley, we don't.
Absolutely.
Well, in
So that's
America
the
in
reason it's not going to
general.
work. It's not going to work in America.
Yeah.
It only works in places that they have a strong sense of community.
Yeah, they genuinely have a love for each
beginning.
other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because anyone here, most politicians you see in America, in general politicians, they don't really care about the people, right, that
Exactly.
they govern. I mean, you see that here, a lot of them just want the power, right, to sit at the throne more or less and just kind of push their weight around, whatever, make connections, get a book deal, and make lots of money. It was the same. It's like the same argument. Like if the Democrats really cared about minorities would have benefited
Yeah.
from Democrat leadership more than anything.
I think for the only person that actually helped the minority
Mm-hmm.
was JFK. That's the last Democratic. I know he doesn't have. He's not all perfect,
right.
but he was very, very popular
Yeah,
amongst
yeah.
Latinos.
And he was shot
Very.
for it.
No, yes, and
Yeah.
he was shunned. He was shot and shunned,
Mm-hmm.
but he had a very good policies.
Yeah.
Not all of them great, but he did do a lot.
Yeah, historically speaking,
Exactly.
some of my favorite people have been Democrat, and on my 4th episode, I had a guy who was actually left leaning, and he made a lot of sense to me. He was he admired Democrats like FDR, JFK, LBJ, and all the three letters, right?
Yeah, all 3-letter people.
Yeah, and I understood that you need to take care of the working class.
Yeah,
Gotta
the
take care
working
of you.
class is your blood.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn how to manage it. But if you just like I say, you just want to spark communism, you're only gonna do it with a revolution and a violent revolution, which is I see is happening. Well, what I see right now, like with the BLM protests,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the violence. You guys remember what happened in California back in the 90s, right?
The LA
With-
riots.
Yeah.
LA riots. Once I saw that in the news, I was like, I was honestly just looking up for a documentary,
Mm-hmm.
LA burning,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mhm.
I saw this with BLM in Minneapolis, and protests. And I'm like, it's the LA riots all over again,
Yeah.
but times
Yeah.
10.
A lot.
Because
you know?
everything's projected on social media times 1,000.
Yeah, and not just one city; it's
Yeah.
a bunch of cities.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that they're mostly Democratic-run cities?
It's Democratic-run cities because most cities are not gonna be Republican-based. Like the biggest cities, I think, are Democratic.
Yeah, that's true.
New York, LA, I think Houston as well.
But in the
Yeah.
end, what are they really protesting if they're voting? They keep voting for the same people that put him in that position in the first place.
Well, once I think I saw a video honestly with BLM leaders. They were outside the suburbs demanding one of the people to get out, give your property for reparations.
Oh wow.
Oh
Exactly.
man,
And I'm a big understand. Yeah, slavery was bad, but You know, you're not the only people that caused, you know, that were enslaved.
Right.
There was the Jews.
Yeah.
The Egyptians were black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They enslaved.
Yeah. No, if you're right. That's
and
true.
exactly. And it's an uncomfortable topic, but it's true.
Right.
There was
Yeah, we definitely need more discussion of it because we can't just throw away history just like it didn't
Yes.
exist.
Right. And we
Yes.
can't rewrite history. Either.
Yeah.
like
You
with
know.
the statues. People are, you know, taking down statues. I understand. I just don't, you know. How about take that statue and put it in a museum? You know,
Yeah.
Right.
that's all you have to do. And I'm not gonna badger just the left.
Right.
I'm also gonna badger Trump supporters with the flag. All this, you know, Confederacy and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't
Right.
exist. You have the right to display your flag,
Mm-hmm.
but you know,
We live in the United States
we
of
live
America.
yeah, we live in the U.S.
Yeah.
That to me, you know, what's happening right now, and I don't know if you guys, you know, looked up balkanization.
No, not at all. Tell us about
I'm not
that.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, you know the area of the Balkans, right?
Not familiar.
No.
Serbia, Kosovo,
okay.
Montenegro, and all those kind of places.
Okay,
Ex-Yugoslavia.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
they're all very, very ethnic states there. So
Mhm.
from Yugoslavia with the USSR, there was actually one, you know, leader, I'll call him a dictator, that stand, you know, against Stalin. Stalin himself. You know, he said, yeah, you know,
Not gonna happen.
not gonna happen. No, and he had 3 assassination attempts, I think,
No.
and he survived.
Dang.
What he wanted to do is he wanted to have this state, Yugoslavia, with different types of ethnic people, you know, coexist. But you know, it's the differences were slightly different,
Mhm.
the dialects of their language, and that's it.
Right.
But people are very different and want their own home state. My question to you guys, and in that war, you know, that's how the Balkans, you know, that's how the Balkans were created. We have Greece, Kosovo, Serbia, Montenegro, and all these different states because of ethnicities that wanted to have their own state.
Mm-hmm.
Until 2008, there's still a little area, you know, that wanted to be free. So my question to you guys: do you think the U.S. can be balkanized because, you know, ethnicity?
Mm.
If you ever look at a map of the demographics of people,
Yeah.
there's actually, like I say, there's BLM people with Black Panthers, or even with Mexican Chicano pride people,
Mhm.
the Reconquista, Aslan,
Mm-hmm.
and the Confederate States of America, you know, the
Yeah.
South would rise again.
Right.
People that want that,
Mm-hmm.
and that just separates us.
Yeah.
I wanted United States.
Right.
Absolutely.
Involve everybody. I mean, that's the beautiful part about America. We have so many cultures. We're a melting pot, and we should appreciate each other for our differences and not be so divisive. I mean, have I thought about bold ideas like that where we just give, you know, specific people part of a land? Yes,
Exactly.
but
It's you gotta, you know,
like if you give like the black community or a Hispanic community like a section in like Utah or Colorado or just like somewhere where there's not that much, or
Yeah.
Wyoming, you know, for that matter,
all of California, Texas, and all that kind of basically.
Yeah.
eventually they're gonna just end up dividing amongst themselves.
Exactly. Mexico's just like that,
Mhm.
north and south. And with the United States, it's the same. You see the demographics. And I think it's happening, in my opinion, it's happening right now. It's
Mhm.
not actually dividing, but
Right.
we divide ourselves.
Right.
And when I worked in prison, they divide themselves amongst race.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're all prisoners stuck in one place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very
Well,
interesting.
at that point, it's like a survival thing, I'm sure.
There's a
you
lot
know?
of survival.
It's a lot of fear that goes
Fear.
into that.
There's a lot of, you get worked up.
Mhm.
And what I see and what I take pride in being Mexican and Hispanic
Hmm.
Mhm.
is that we, the Mexicans, the Hispanics inside prison, we work with both people.
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
work
the
for-
mediators, right?
Yeah, the mediators, exactly. We work for for this gang, there's two different gangs, of course, but they're both Hispanic and they get along with the white gang, and the other ones get along with the black gang for business and all those kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But I see this kind of
It's almost like they need each other somehow, right? They need
business-wise, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the raza, bro. They gotta get in there. They gotta make those moves.
Exactly.
Yeah, the hustlers.
They're smart. Yeah.
And that's what I love about our Mexican culture. But it's what Chicanos don't see right now. And Chicanismo is evolving to something that that does not represent all of the Mexican community.
No, of course not. Yeah,
I want to include
agree.
everyone, everyone, not just the Mexicans. I say, have pride in yourself. Have
Where you
pride
come from.
where you come from. Not everything has to be inclusive.
Yeah, take only the good from the things that you were taught, and be able to. But that's why I want to be living in an environment, in a community where we are critical of the things that we love and support, instead of always just being or bashing other people.
Yeah.
Because things that are like I would 100% support the Latino or Chicano movement if it weren't so
Cringy,
toxic.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to remove myself from that type of environment or the type of people, because I realized the early signs of toxic traits and how it affects women and children being raised.
I'm not saying they don't do they don't do good, but they do they do some good. Not the best, but they do good.
Yeah.
But
we can be better though.
Yeah, we can be better. But the thing is, we just have to learn from both sides, honestly.
Right.
And
that's also a little bit of where the Catholic conservatism puts into place of ourselves as Hispanic, because we don't like the changes, right? We when you put us here at the border, we don't know that much about credit. We don't know much about the financial system. Like, we barely have money in Mexico. Now we're just like, okay, here's $1,000 loan. Sounds good.
Because that is border culture. But what the border is basically a big vein, basically, in my opinion. Like I say, if you put a business right at the border, you're gonna thrive, because you're gonna have people from both sides buying.
Yeah, I see a lot of people from Monterrey come over here and
Progreso.
go to Progreso. Yeah.
Look at Progreso. That's a border city, and it's thriving compared to other cities around Mexico. The reason is because you get both type of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing with
it caters to both.
Exactly. It's their own identity, and that's why Chicanos kind of see themselves different. But I say accept that, because
embrace it.
But
own it.
Yeah, and on the same thing, basically, that's a separate trait of the Chicanos. We want our own land and all that kind of stuff. What I mean by that is Aslan, for people that understand that.
Yeah.
And with any other race as well. But I can't see that happening in the U.S.
No, and
it shouldn't happen.
And going back, to like balkanizing and all that stuff, like it. I think, the sentiment that the United States of America be united, I think that is an important thing that we're losing sight of today. I think that today, everyone, like I had mentioned in a previous podcast, like they're reanimating old enemies, like racism and like police brutality and stuff like that. Things we've made leaps and bounds in forms of progress. It feels like we're seeing like the 80s again happening with all the stuff that's happening right now. So it's like the millennials got to a point where it was like their opportunity to make a change for the better for like this country, but there was nothing really left that was like oppressing. But somehow like the media kept that narrative alive that just because of the color of your skin, you are going to be targeted for whatever,
exactly.
Right? Something like that. So it's like we kind of dug up old enemies to fight again, and it's like that's why you see some people that get confused. They're like, well, I'm not racist. Like, why is everybody attacking me and calling me racist or saying that I'm part of a problem that I don't even understand? Like, right? Like normal people just going through their lives, not people who are like paying attention to politics or what's going on with the riots or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, like right now we're seeing that racial tension that was almost, gone, and so it's like
going back to like I say, the LA riots.
Yeah.
Black and Hispanics and South Koreans.
Yeah.
Everyone was against each other.
Yep.
Defending property and all that kind of stuff. And you brought up police brutality. I am not a fan of the police. The reason for it is because there is a lot of controversy within them.
Right.
There's things that they're not supposed to do. I think, like they say, abolish the police.
Right.
But look what happens.
Defund the police, right?
Defund, whatever. But we have that kid that shot the two Antifa members in self-defense.
Right.
And they're crying, well, they have to police their own, places and all that. He's policing. He's doing his own thing. If you do not want that, defending their own community, then don't defund the police. I, for one,
that's a good point.
I, for one, don't care for the police. I don't like police. And I wouldn't want a police state.
Yeah.
What I would actually want is a private security. I've seen...
I never thought about it that way, actually.
Ex-military members policing communities at the price of the community.
Right. It comes out of like a fund that they make or something.
They actually tried it already in Chicago. A very violent place, of course.
Yeah.
It's crazy how nobody really highlights the amount of murders that goes on a weekly or daily basis.
In a city and state with like the most strictest gun laws.
Yeah. It's like criminals not gonna follow gun laws, of course.
Exactly.
Right.
And but
it only leaves the people who don't have guns limited to try to take care of themselves with whatever they got.
Yeah. Right. And well, this private security, how you call it, from Chicago, they're helping around for some of the suburbs and protecting them. I think that should be run by the community. Have a community force, basically.
Yeah.
Or at least the sheriff be the highest.
Take care of your own people, essentially.
Exactly. Not too much like tribalism, because we have, like in BLM, you have a lot of white people that integrated with Black Lives Matter.
In a way, almost hijacked the movement.
Exactly.
Right. Like it's like there's even like memes coming out and stuff like that of like there being only like 1 or 2 black people for every 10 white people at these BLM riots, and it's
they would say it's their privilege, so they can do protect the black people. And I say this is one of my teachings that my father taught me, and I don't know, I saw it. It doesn't matter who you're born from. If Hitler has a kid, the kid is not gonna be Hitler.
Right.
Yeah.
The kid could grow up to be a very nice, sweet gentleman and all that kind of stuff.
We won't grow up with Star Wars, so we know it.
So yeah, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You choose how you're gonna live your life.
Right.
Basically, you can get up from the bottom slums and pick yourself up.
Yeah.
You can cry yourself and do nothing. Your past does not, your family does not get to choose, how much they can control you. Yes, in certain places, yes. Middle East, arranged marriages and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But in America, it's different.
A little bit different, and West-leaning states, you get to choose how you live your life.
Right.
And that's it. No one to blame.
Yeah, there's a quote I saw somewhere. I can't remember where, but it was being poor is difficult, and making money is difficult. You choose. You're difficult, right?
Exactly.
Because a lot of people also don't take into consideration that people who have small businesses and stuff that are thriving and living the American dream. Those people worked hard for that.
Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of things you have to do. You have to have connections. You have to, not connections like connections. connections. You have to connect with the people.
Right.
You don't
networking basically.
Yeah, networking. You gotta apply for loans, risk your credit. if your business fails, that's your loss that comes out of your pocket and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. There's life isn't easy, but
life is not easy.
you gotta decide what you want out of life and then go for it. And in America, this is the one place.
Stone.
Yeah, this is the place in the world, like one of the only places in the world where it's like actually possible to start from nothing and really.
It's not the best, but it's something. Like I say,
something special for sure.
Something special.
Yeah,
And
we definitely see the flaws in capitalism when you involve government to private things like pharmaceuticals or healthcare or since you come from an education background, the universities, it seems like it's become a little bit of a cash grabbing scam to just like let in the students. We'll take the government's money and then start eventually raising the tuition. So I see that's why it's becoming so. It just seems so
distorted,
greedy and distorted, and it no longer seems like it's serving the original purpose of the university. And I wanted to ask you that. I think I sent you the question to think about. I got it. Has the original purpose and intent of the university changed?
Yeah, it has definitely changed. The university right now stands in a lot of left-leaning colleges. We don't have our freedom to think or express our opinions, no matter how central or even if you're centrist or whatever, you're gonna be an enemy to both people.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Exactly. Like, if you don't vote for Biden, it's a vote for Trump. If you don't vote for Trump, it's a vote for Biden. I'm like, just let me vote in peace. That's why I absolutely love the people that have their privacy and how you call it, they keep their vote private,
right?
Like, because back in the day, if you ask someone, "Hey, who do you vote for?" I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah, it's my confidential. It's my own private, thing.
But also back in the day, if you were voting for someone, you weren't attacked for it. Yeah. So that's another difference in today's politics. That
pre-2016, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but before that, also, I mean, like I say, you had your privacy. But nowadays, Trump all the way, Biden all the way. It's
become a form of identity for people.
Exactly.
And it's just it only serves to divide, because people
and conquer us, basically.
Yeah.
And we already divided as we're getting divided very thinly already, even amongst race.
Yeah,
both black, white, and Latinos, and anyone in between as well. We are very divided. But the only way we can, get together is just to get together and have at least one view we can agree with, and that's it.
And just have a civil conversation like we're having now.
Civil conversation will help a lot.
It'll go a long way.
Yeah. David, you're actually libertarian, is that correct?
Voluntary, basically. Voluntarism.
Oh.
Libertarian, they both have different views, left.
So is
right.
voluntarism a party, or
it's a way of thinking? Basically, you volunteer like what you want to do with your life, or what you want to, how you call it, say your taxes, basically. I just want to control the way my money is being controlled. I want to control it, basically, my rights, because we're not truly free. Because I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment and the First Amendment as well. And if you talk and if you say any kind of racially charged comment, it's free speech as I see it. We do it with each other. You know? Don't lie, honestly.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Both in every race, we talk smack, but the minute we say to another race, we cry and become the victim. And it's not good. We're not a victim. We are getting back up. We're not on our knees. The Mexican people are not on their knees. We're trying to do our best. Let us just help our people and not look, backwards at things.
Yeah.
Look forward. And like I said, voluntarism is how you want your money managed by you, not the government.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, it's like with abortion. Abortion is a big topic, yes, and all that kind of stuff. With the President Jo Jorgensen, she's a female. I don't know why there's no feminists supporting her.
Yeah, that's a good point, huh?
I know.
Yeah, same thing with Jill Stein in the last election with the Green Party.
Exactly. I don't know why they're not supporting her. She even wants to help the people that are feminists about abortion. With
well, they control the
controlling.
They control the media narrative, right?
Yeah, no, to get what's it called? Birth control over the counter without anything that deals with abortion is between you and the doctor,
right?
And it's not funded by it's not funded by the taxpayers.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if they have it. I just don't want to pay for it. It's
yeah.
That's
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in
that makes perfect sense. I mean, as you as an individual should have some say in where your tax dollars, and I believe that a lot of people would rather not have to deal with having to make that choice, right? They're fine paying with their taxes, and the government does whatever they need to do. But it's almost like you're hurting yourself and your own people and your own community because of the things that you might not support that are getting funded against your beliefs or your own personal being.
Yeah, but we have to understand that here in the valley, we have a lot of community-based, thinking, but not everyone is a complete Democrat or a complete Trump supporter.
And a lot of people don't even examine who they really are inside. They just go both loof no matter who. It's not. Oh, Trump called us Mexicans, racist, and all this stuff.
Or Trump has got to do everything for us.
Yeah.
The reason I don't like Trump is basically his gun. His stance on the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and that is a perfectly reasonable policy-based belief or view.
Yeah.
But it comes from a place of understanding the law and what you want in the government to be done.
And as a Trump supporter, that's a bit of a grievance that I have as well, because I mean, I'm also pro Second Amendment. I like I like guns. I think that
protect yourself.
There are very, very few limits on how we should be able to defend ourselves. So but just wanted to throw that in there. That's as much as I may personally identify with his policies and the things that he wants to change or do for the country, that is one grievance that I have. It's like I wish he was more pro-gun.
Yeah, and that's where fanaticism takes over because you're being bashed a lot of the time, and you want to have the president do specific things for everybody that supports him.
Well, and some people are one-issue voters.
Yeah. And
I see.
Well, one thing, like you say with the policies of the Second Amendment with Trump, I don't know. I don't understand a lot of Republican voters also if they're pro Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
All of the big anti-gun laws were passed by Republicans. Ronald Reagan are the poster child for Republicanism.
Yeah,
he banned machine guns and all this kind of stuff. Bush Senior, in the 1920s, of a Republican. All of them are passed by Republicans.
Yeah.
And, pushed more with, democratic policies from other democratic presidents.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I kind of get confused. If there's these Republicans are pro-Second Amendment, but they idolize Reagan because of that.
Well, I mean, I think, again, it goes, like, on a list of priorities. Like, how much do you prioritize the Second Amendment? And also, on a state level, being Republican, because I mean, here in Texas, guns are we're very pro
Castle
gun
law,
state.
right?
Yeah, we exactly. So
we don't have like I want it to be as pro as Arizona, constitutional carry.
Yeah,
you don't need a permit. You don't need.
We can have open carry here.
We
in
have
Texas.
open carry, but they don't.
Right, you still feel like it's a little bit of a limit that they're putting.
There's still a limit here in Texas, but like I say, compared to Arizona, they have more freedom.
Yeah, no, of course, and that's what I mean. I think it's more of a state level thing. Like as far as like the Republicans that they don't want the harsher stuff that democratic states have. Like they don't want to be California, they don't want to be Illinois. So it's like, yeah, I understand from from the federal level, presidents who may push Republican values but then limit guns. So it's like I understand that. But then I think on a state level, I think that's where we all kind of like, well, I mean, here we have this, so we're able to do this. So I'm okay with promoting, let's say, Trump, because I agree with like all his other policies, even though, because on a tier of importance, guns isn't the top priority. Maybe there's other things that I would like to see for the country that are better for the country, not specifically. It's a good criticism to make on Republicans who are,
And that's how I saw many people that I know that were Trump supporters get away from him because of that.
Yeah.
And the red flag laws. And the red flag laws is what is causing this BLM movement. Breonna Taylor, her and Duncan Lemp, another Duncan Lemp was an ex army or ex something, got killed by the police officers. They just broken in.
Same thing, no knock raids.
No knock raids. Breonna Taylor. And that's the only, like, for me, that's the only true victim of the BLM movement. Like, the only true martyr I see, and for gun people as well.
Yeah.
Because the guy was just defending his wife.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Duncan Lamb.
And he did get pardoned, right? Or, like, exempt from for his actions? Or
I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
Because it's getting to that point.
Okay, yeah. Because I remember that he was actually, like, after all was said and
done. Or that man that was pleading for his life with his hands up and crying in front of police officers, and that the police officer just killed him. 19 rounds. And that guy is still, he's still a police officer.
I'm not familiar with that story in particular, but
Came out of the news.
But I will stand against a police officer that blatantly abuses his power. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, like the whole Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. I'm not in favor of police officers abusing their power. In any instance where it's clear cut, like it's not justified. The dude literally just, went gung ho on this person. Those people should be fired. Those people should be, held to the same standards, or even harsher standards in some cases. Because
probably harsher. Because you're supposed to uphold serve and protect.
You're supposed to set the precedent of what a good moral person should be. So it's like, so like in any of those cases where it's like clearly the cop is bad, I say let him lay the book on him, and that's where I think like BLM protesters don't understand is that like
that we support all that.
We support it.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't support the rioting or the destruction of private property.
Yeah, and the looting and
I don't think the people
terrorizing. I mean, it is domestic terror.
Yeah, no, and if you see, there's videos of, and I've seen this many a times on Facebook and Facebook Live. Gangbangers protecting their neighborhoods. Crips defending their neighborhoods from BLM.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, and they're not the best, but see what's happening. You're making the worst do something against you. They're protecting that.
You're forcing people to actually care about their friends and family, do something about it. That's like almost vigilanteism, right?
Exactly. Right. And it's getting to that point sooner. It's at that point that there's vigilanteism to protect your property. And people will say, well, they have insurance. You have to pay. You're paying for insurance and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it doesn't, pay out. Look at Katrina. Didn't pay out at all. There's still people that are rebuilding. And with this hurricane.
And some people who never got to.
Exactly.
No, yeah, absolutely. And that's a very weak argument for them to just be like, oh, you got insurance, it's fine, we'll destroy you. It's like the same thing as saying like, oh, well, you have health insurance, you'll recover if I beat the crap out of you. You know, it's like the damage still inflicts a lot of pain and suffering on these families who depend on those businesses to provide.
Who are black themselves.
There's black owned, Hispanic, and they're doing it to themselves, just like in the LA riots. They're destroying people of color. Their businesses. It's not good.
It's almost like they're being manipulated into either subconsciously or through social media to go ahead and destroy their own communities for I don't know what reason.
Well, if you look at Antifa used to be an organization in Germany. Originally.
Oh yeah,
right.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, and then
they have like German colors.
Yeah, it's the same flag basically. Antifascism or whatever in German. Then it came over here, got overtaken by punk rock kids and all that kind
Anarchists,
of stuff.
air quotes.
Yeah, we still and you can easily spot them. Colored hair, that's it. And
Pussy hats and all.
pussy hats and pink hair. You don't even know if they're a boy or girl.
Start fights, but don't finish them.
Yeah,
No,
bunch of Nazi.
Yeah.
And like I said, one thing. Not everyone is a Nazi just because they disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone's a Nazi.
If anything, they're the fascists themselves, because
Exactly.
they are you're doing things by force. They're promoting fascism in the name of anti-fascism, which is insane.
Yeah.
This is an insane
That-
level of like self-awareness that you lack.
And
Yeah.
remember, communism was not good as well in World War II. They were not the heroes.
No.
They were working with
the Nazis
with
were,
Hitler.
The Nazis were socialists
Exactly.
themselves, But yeah, no, and there's another podcast I was listening to, and they kind of were touching on this subject, and so they had said something. I don't know where they got it from or whatever, but it was I thought it was pretty funny. It was like, if you think this person is a white supremacist and this person is a Nazi, you've been brainwashed. And it was a picture of Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. So it's like, yeah, like,
The people of actual diversity in color.
Yeah.
right. So it's like the again, like you said, the level of not being self-aware is astronomical. Like this, so exactly, like people will hear Candace Owens talk and throw racial slurs at him and call Ben Shapiro a Nazi, even
And
though
this is
he
why-
wears,
and he's Jewish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But either way, there was Jewish people in Nazi Germany that actually worked for Hitler.
Yeah, there was, but
But out
they
of
weren't,
fear,
they
you
weren't
know?
treated the
well,
way.
well, not out of fear. They
Oh.
actually
Like they sold out their own people.
they sold out their
Oh,
own people.
man.
So yeah, it happens on both sides, and I
Like
think
no
this
one-
is what's happening here in the U.S. There's people selling out their own people to whatever cause, and making us fight against each other.
I also feel like whenever like you don't vote a certain way, you're attacked and removed of your own community as if you were never part of it. Like
Yeah.
you were a traitor to your own people.
It's like I was discussing that one time.
Yeah.
They're I've seen people comment on like people who are just like Latino, but they're for Trump, right?
Oh, the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
well,
is that finally I can put a label on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cancel
and so I see people in the comments are like, oh, we don't claim you as one of us, right? Like they don't claim that Latino as a Mexican or a Chicano or whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, that's more of a you thing. That's you projecting because that's what
Exactly.
you want. You want to be accepted by this group think mentality. You don't want to be an individual. And so whenever someone breaks that narrative, you want to attack them in a way that you would feel attacked. It's like, oh, well, we don't claim you. You're not one of us. And it's like,
Well, if they knew any bit of history, like with Cesar Chavez,
Yeah.
good guy,
mm-hmm.
but he did not like wetbacks.
No,
And
he was very much against.
He was very much against. But the co-leader, what was her name?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but she helped him get better, and they
Yeah,
took away that
they-
stigma after that.
Yeah,
But people don't.
They helped him
don't-
with his PR.
Yeah, but at the end, he actually helped a lot of people. After
Yeah,
that. But,
of course.
But people tend to forget that. Why don't they cancel that?
No, yeah. They prefer not to mention it so that way
Yeah.
people don't understand the real history of how progress is made. Not everybody's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
But
sometimes you
you-
have to do compromises, right?
Yeah. Like
Little
for
bit,
me,
yeah.
I'm not, like I say, you're a Trump supporter. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a big question for you guys: how many friends have you lost because of the past election?
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't put my pro Trump out there. And this is just me. I've never been active on social media.
Carefully, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm careful now, but I've never been active on social media. I never post anything, not
Yeah.
even memes or anything. So it's like whenever I became political, it was against my very fiber of my being to
Yeah.
be like, I'm pro Trump. I'm this. I'm thinking this, and
Yeah.
So it's like,
You're mostly like a calm Trump. Basically.
Yeah,
You're
I'm-
not like a Trump.
Yeah,
I'm a
rational.
normal guy. I'm a normal
Rational.
guy. I like Trump. I like some things here and there, but I'm not a fanatic.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna be over here.
However, if somebody were to like just come at you and try to push you to your ends. You're gonna be full. You're not gonna go down without a fight, right? You're not gonna be silenced.
No, of
and
course
that's
not.
that's where it becomes very dangerous.
I'm gonna stand my ground.
Yeah. That's where it becomes very dangerous for somebody to come in and try to silence you, because it makes you even dig in your heels even more. And you don't want to do that as a person. I don't want to do that. You know, I want to be able to admit that the guy has some things that he can do better for our country.
Right.
But with people just being yelling at each other and not hearing each other,
right,
we're only going to extremes because we're willing to freaking fight what we believe in instead of actually compromise and talk to each other. Because we feel like if you go ahead and do whatever you're gonna do, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to protect my family and everything that I believe in.
Yeah, so that's one thing that people don't understand.
This radicalism has had to end.
For me, everything is family first, politics second.
Of course,
absolutely,
and that's it.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Honestly, like for me, I kind of regret what I voted for one person, and it's a disgusting person that I voted for. But like I say, family comes first. She helped me with with a home. I voted for Hillary. I did not like her, but I say, well, she's my aunts are helping me. During this time of need, I'm gonna end up voting. Basically, I would have done the same thing if it was the other person, like for Trump or whatever. And they hosted me, to live there in the house for at least a couple of days, 3 days. But she told me, who are you gonna vote for? I don't like Trump, and I don't like Hillary. I just said, vote Hillary. I voted for Hillary. I know that she was a terrible candidate,
right?
And she was.
She felt it was just going to be handed to her, the election,
exactly,
the mantle of president.
Yeah, but I kind of knew she was not going to get elected because a lot of people don't like her.
Yeah,
and
she won the popular vote.
She won the popular. People don't understand there's electoral votes. The reason because there's a lot of people that live in rural countries.
Absolutely,
and that's what some university students or a lot of millennials don't know.
They don't want to understand. Understand electoral college.
Yeah, they don't understand. They just want pure populism.
Right, and we're not a democracy.
Yeah,
right?
A direct democracy.
We're not directly. So.
We're a mixed economic kind of place, basically. A mixed of different ideologies.
I wonder how much the economy and the people of actual wealth and power and influence have over the poor like us.
Well, they do. In my opinion, wealth does control war, basically. The industrial complex of war, basically.
The military-industrial complex, very familiar with it. Yeah.
Yes. Like I said, you have experience in the military or Air Force, right? I have friends that came from that. After that, they can probably make their own business in mercenary kind of things. It's mercenary work. Honestly,
right.
You can go to South America.
Contracts.
Do contracts, protect spices against criminals, and make good money.
Yeah.
But, wealth does control poor classes. You see it in different countries. Look at Colombia with the FARC, the communist terrorists that's been there since the Cold War, and they barely did a truce.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this decade barely did a truce, and they're actually gonna go back and kill again because the truce has been broken.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
it's kind of strange how there's a lot of people who really do not care about the things that are going on in the world because we feel like it's almost like this victim mentality has taken over because it's so appealing to the young kids because that's like the only way they get attention, right?
Well, yeah.
People nowadays, millennials mostly, right? They're like I said, they're like rebels without a cause. They have to find some reason to feel oppressed or victimized so that they can combat it. But it's always been my understanding that it's like all of that stuff it's just first world problems. Because if you really cared about the issue itself, you'd be fighting for, gay rights in other countries where gays are stoned to death.
Middle East,
yeah,
women who can't walk down the street without a man and without being covered head to toe, and yet you're over here in America screaming about rape culture, and it's like I think that if you really wanted to tackle that issue.
Or like sex work is real work. And I I tell it with a grain of salt. Are you gonna, if you're gonna put sex work is real work, are you gonna go to your next employer?
Put it on your resume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, my OnlyFans account got this many subscribers.
Yeah. And everyone is affected by cancel culture. Everyone is affected by these kind of things. Gamers. How many gamers we have here?
Oh, right here.
There you go. There's a lot of people got affected.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I just don't like to see politics. No side.
It's
no,
in the games now.
Yeah, I don't want to see either side of politics invade my video games. Video games are an escape, you know.
Yeah.
And you see that with sports now too. The NBA got,
NFL,
really,
same thing.
and they started getting really into the BLM and political stuff, and people stopped watching. You know, it's like they don't want to be reminded of that every second.
Sports is just a deterrent to anything you want to do in life. There's a lot of sport fanatics, and by sports fanatics, I mean the most fanatic people you can ever know.
You mean Dallas Cowboys fans?
I mean really deranged.
Oh, like they get really upset over a game.
Football hooliganism from Europe. They fight. They burn up the whole stadium.
If their team loses,
Yes.
or somebody gets a foul.
Exactly. UK, Europe. They start riots and fights just because of that. Different teams. Now put that into politics. That's basically it.
Yeah, I think we've seen like a couple clips where like there's like Japanese people fighting, like Asian people fighting in like middle of their like their chambers, like punching their vice president or something like that. I've seen it. It's crazy.
Yeah. We honestly just need to calm down in this type of environment
and talk to each other.
Talk and relax.
Yeah.
And get
Have
along.
some tea.
And remember that, like with me, I'm lucky that my point of view, I did not lose friends because of my political views.
And that's great. That's how it should be.
And that's because I'm outwardly. I put a lot of memes.
Yeah.
I love memes. I love internet culture.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is, before Obama, the internet is worse. It's still bad, but it was more vulgar. Just going to Xbox back in the 2000s.
Yeah, I remember those days.
You know what?
Exactly.
They're coming back, bro. Like,
Toxic people.
I mean, look,
It
bro.
is coming.
It's so like, yeah. I think maybe at some point it died down, but dude, like, I was playing, like Search and Destroy. It's ridiculous. Like, same thing. It the way I look at it is just, if you are attacking something, but if you were attacking something in that same way, but just changed the type of people around. So like, let's say there's not enough white people in something, right? I mean, what the immediate thing would be like, oh, well, you're racist or you're a bigot, you're this. Same thing. Like, don't push for more or less this and that. Like, just let the artist create art, criticize it by all means, but don't try to cancel it. Don't try to call the artist this or that just because you don't agree with what they produced.
With the casting or the
And
animation style.
Yeah, or like black people should be voicing black characters on animated series and stuff.
And I think that's just a terrible view, basically. You're not going to put a person that's not qualified and do your heart surgery just because of his skin.
Right.
Basically. You need to judge the person by his character, not his skin.
Absolutely.
MLK quote right there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are not taking that too hard now.
We're seeing a lot of the opposite now.
Yeah,
We're seeing a lot of
with the Biden Harris ticket. I felt like that was a slap to the face to.
It's definitely a slap to the face to every black person that hates cops.
Right.
And to every person of color that hates cops.
Right.
She is the one that's gonna enforce everything.
She has a bad reputation.
She has a bad record.
She there was the whole, she didn't allow people who were trying to represent themselves. Like she
she denied evidence.
She denied evidence
Exactly.
that would have led to their freedom. Like she
locked up a lot of people of color
and made them do like, what is it, community service and stuff like that for California.
Or Biden's infamous quote, "If you don't vote for me, You're not black.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Where
Or-
like
yeah,
they
or-
people
or-
strip you of your identity because of you vote a certain way, and that's just coming up from a fear mongering type of thing that's coming from the far left.
Yeah, like with the Bernie Bros.
Mm-hmm.
The Bernie Bros, man. So much hope that they give him, that they give to Bernie, that he's gonna get us out of here and all this kind of stuff. Yes, he had good ideas, but at the end, I think he just scammed everyone.
Yeah,
He got more money at the end.
Well,
Another
well,
house.
Yeah, well,
and they paid him off to just keep quiet and to keep supporting Biden. But what I meant by that, the Biden Harris ticket is that because Joe Biden doesn't pick anybody. He barely knows he's out there.
Yeah.
That's just who he is.
Yeah,
He's just
like-
so old that he should
if-
have just retired after the death of.
if we're gonna make a serious case about Biden, we're gonna have to like assume that he doesn't have dementia.
Okay.
Yeah.
right, right. Like if we, because I mean that's
He
the
repeats
thing.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like
Either he's fully sane or he's not all there. You
Right.
can't have somewhere in the middle.
right, like because the way that he acts, he doesn't look like
He's all there.
yeah, exactly. He doesn't look like a healthy man who's got it together. Which love him or hate him, Trump has that up on Biden.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not forming sentences well and all that stuff.
And I know
so-
people that are gonna say, vote blue,
No matter who, right?
no matter who.
But he's just a puppet, though.
and
It just
I think-
and
and
it comes off very
Yeah,
obvious.
And people are gonna vote in slavery. If, like I said, they're gonna vote for someone that's gonna enslave them, basically Biden. And Biden had, I don't know how many years to fix everything he's gonna say he's
Yeah.
gonna fix.
Yeah.
Even with Obama.
Well, that was Trump's ad, right? It was like a meme. It was like if Biden knew how to fix America, why didn't he tell Obama? And I
Yeah.
mean,
like
Yeah.
why are we? If I just want essentially the Democrats to try harder for the Latino vote, to try harder for the black vote,
Yeah.
but they take everybody for granted. They're trying to go to the wildest base that the young
and
kids.
I talk to a lot of leftist people, and they feel the same thing. They start off with Bernie, and then they say, why did they betray us? And they're just stuck with this Biden, basically.
yeah, no one's happy about it.
It just seems like the people that you talk to, they come from like a place where they want to be on
They're
the
sheltered, basically.
the left as well, but like they don't want to open up their mind to the center or like the Republican views
Yeah.
that can further expand their own education
Well, they don't want to be accused of being a bigot.
Yes,
by their own
and-
peers, right?
No, and yeah,
Everybody
they do
has
get-
to be in a little box, and if
Yeah.
you think any type of way, they move you to a different box. And what they don't want,
Oh, that's
is,
what you were
is-
talking about.
exactly
is
what
to
that,
be
what
put
happened,
into
that incident with the DSA members, anti-Semitic rant, like I say, between their own members, a
Jeez.
feminist and a feminist,
Wow.
for being Jewish. Yeah, and that's terrible. And like I say, at the beginning, I told them that even with LGBTQ and up, there's exclusivity, even though they say it's inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to a lot of gay
And-
people and all that, and they say they have their own bubbles and their own labels.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be with these people because they're too slim or whatever. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
It's they separate themselves.
Yeah, and then they wonder why the Democrats are divided, right? I
Mhm.
mean, like think about it. Like Biden and Kamala both were like protest, right? Or protest air quotes,
Mhm. Yeah.
because they're really riots. But they were like even funding, to like help bail out some of the people who were, in jail for doing, participating in the riots. And then all of a sudden they see it in the polls and they're like, boom, $45 million ad campaign to say, I condemn the violence. And, you know what I mean? So it's like he's like the Democratic base is just split in half. You got the radical leftists that just want to burn everything to the ground and start over. And then you have people who are in the like more moderate that just want to be a Democrat without having to subscribe to I'm in favor of all these things that don't make sense to me, but I'm still a Democrat. You know?
And they also-
the supporters of the rational Democrats,
Right.
right? The
Normal
people who want to support the working class because that's what they believe in. They believe in the unions and all that. Like I can admire and respect that if you're a Democrat, but if you don't know what constitutes as being a Democrat, then I have no idea what you're even voting for because you're voting essentially for these radical these radical people to hijack your own voice.
Yeah, they even say nowadays that a Democrat, a moderate Democrat, is just a Republican in blue. I'm like, what the?
That's pretty funny, but
And
yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
I say this. And there's a big quote. It's from a meme, of course.
And culture is very popular.
It's
Exactly.
what we live now. Yeah.
There's this one saying, going towards the riots.
Mm-hmm.
There's offensive words, and words is words are assault, physical assault.
Oh yeah.
And then there's rioting. Well, they have insurance. I'm like, which is it? Which is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you more afraid of?
And see, and this is what happens. People are doing, they're policing themselves. They're canceling each other. They don't know what to do anymore. And with this pandemic, it's just increasing a bunch.
Oh,
of
absolutely.
hate. It's a big hate machine in the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You get zucked for whatever thing you put on the Facebook.
Oh man, I've seen it. Yeah.
If not by some of your peers that, oh, why did you say that or this, and you and I've seen it on both sides.
Yeah.
There's one Biden girl, no, a Bernie girl on the internet say, I'm gonna kill Trump supporters and all that. Boom.
Yikes.
She got fired from
Oh,
her
yeah.
job. She
Yeah.
got a taste of cancel
I
culture.
I saw that. Yeah.
Got a
Mm-hmm.
taste of cancel culture, but they do it to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, these really crazy extreme positions. Like, dude, it's a fellow human being, and you're criticizing them for just wanting to vote different, and you don't even know why they vote a certain way. You
exactly. You
and
have to
true.
and
talk.
that's my purpose here. Is
Yes.
so like I want people to know like what's in your heart. I want people to know why you believe in the things that you do.
Yeah,
like you
and-
had mentioned yourself, you want to take care of your family.
Yeah, the family for me is the first thing. The race is second, because I don't see it as that. Always gonna be the first thing, because there's a lot of people in America that just want to have a decent life.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Mexico, they come here, they want to start. They just want like a nice house, a little car.
The American dream, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And for me, I believe that policies need to change in Mexico. I'm going back to Mexico here.
Sure. Yeah.
So they need to get their things together. And a lot of Mexicans feel the same way.
Yeah.
They want the corruption to end,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to take a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
And somebody who's not willing to take money from the cartels and all that.
They're everyone. And you see it in an example. Say you go to... It's going to be like one faction, like the federal police, the military, and the local police. Each one is probably working for a different cartel.
Yeah.
And then you get stopped.
Oh, shit.
and
That's
see?
right.
Yeah. That's what my dad's from Mexico, and he's always said that that's the problem. He's like, look.
And they let the criminals leave, basically.
Yeah, like organized crime's always been in Mexico. It's always been a part of Mexico.
Since the 20s.
But it was always like one or two people running a big game, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got 7, 8, 9 cartels, and you, as just someone who's just trying to conduct a business, you have to pay a quota to like 2 or 3 different people, and then a new person comes in.
Exactly. If
So
not,
it's
you
like
get
it's disorganized crime. Like forget organized crime. It's disorganized. It's all over the place, and people don't know who to have to pay up to anymore because now one's
Like, who's really gonna protect me?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure, but what's the gun laws in Mexico?
There's only one gun store in all of Mexico.
Oh yeah, I've
And
heard
Mexico.
about that. It's in DF, right?
And the thing with that is you need to know a person of military to actually buy a weapon.
Yeah.
There's gun laws. And Mexico used to be a place for guns. Look at the revolution. Dude, Mexicans love guns.
I believe it.
And the reason what they don't like is foreign intervention from different governments. Fast and the Furious, Obama years.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get a touch on that. So if anybody out there knows about what President Obama did, please go ahead, David, and explain Fast and Furious for us.
Fast and Furious was a stupid idea brought up by them. They got, I don't know how many AR-15s and military grade rifles, fully auto,
RPGs.
and a lot of things with numbers that tracked them and sold them to them.
To Mexico.
To the cartels.
To the cartels.
Oh my
To the
God.
Sinaloa cartels, the biggest one.
Yeah, the most dangerous people.
Yes. in the hopes of getting a top member. You see where I'm going with this?
Wow.
This is just
they
stupid.
They were trying to get undercover information and be able to trace it down to
Yeah.
the top person.
And yeah, this was just a big failure. It was a big failure. A lot of people died because of that.
Yeah,
That's
and
why
a lot of
there's
people are still dying because of the guns
Yeah.
that are over there.
There's a lot of Mexicans that have a big hatred towards the Obama administration.
That's definitely me right there.
Exactly.
Because of that, because it just feels like you guys inserted so much, guns, and you pump guns into the wrong people
Yeah.
instead of giving it to the people who just want to protect themselves.
Yeah, and Mexico, honestly, the Mexican people just want to be left alone. They want to have good trade
Mm-hmm.
and peace,
Mm-hmm.
a good policy of peace, and not so much isolationism, but good and working trade that doesn't screw them over
As
from different companies from America.
as a non-Trump supporter, how do you feel about President Trump's trade deals with Mexico and Canada? Or like
What NAFTA did and the new
The new
US,
NAFTA.
USDA, whatever.
there's a lot of Mexican people down in the indigenous that do not like that, even with Bill Clinton, because it just steps on their land, basically.
Okay.
You have to understand, Mexico is very indigenous down in Chiapas.
Mm-hmm.
NAFTA just screwed that over.
Yeah. Well, I don't think a lot of people were a fan of NAFTA to begin with.
Yeah, and even with Trump's, deal,
The United States, Canada, Mexico deal or whatever.
Yeah.
it did not help. What most Mexicans want is to be independent, not be in the shadow of Mexico. But in the end, a lot of the workforce here in the United States comes from Mexico. No matter how much we
Mm-hmm.
hate, illegal immigration or anything like that. Like with the wall.
Mm-hmm.
See what happened with the wall with the big fraud. What happened?
I didn't hear about the
Explain that.
fraud.
The defrauding of I don't know who the guy was. All the funding, he was funneling money to himself.
Oh snap!
Yeah, that's
So like embezzling.
that happens a lot with government stuff. Like they're well intended, but at the same time, there's people who are
Yeah.
human beings who are just not good
Yeah,
and
like-
shouldn't be in those positions
which
of
is
power.
which is why socialism would never work.
Yeah, like what I don't like about the wall
Mm-hmm.
is because eminent domain. Eminent domain is a terrible policy. We just want to be left alone in our land,
Mm-hmm.
close to the border,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no wall or anyone patrolling anything. I'll patrol it myself if I want,
Mm-hmm.
but that's it. What Trump created with this policy of just increasing the length of the wall
Mhm.
was a bigger demand, and there's criminals on the other side saying, and they say this: what happened? Are people gonna struggle? Yes, they're gonna struggle. We're just gonna pay, up the ante. They're gonna pay more. What they do is cross from, people from Matamoros to
Yeah.
Brownsville and on boats,
Mm-hmm.
or they get enough money, pay a ticket, go to Canada, cross over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making more business to these criminal organizations. It's not deterring anything.
Mm.
You just have to think. These criminals have a big.
They always know how to work the system, regardless.
It's a
Regardless.
big industry for them.
Yes, it goes to the highest level of the government on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
because we also have military personnel that like to get into this,
Mm-hmm.
selling opium, drugs on any side. We've seen this in Vietnam. We've seen this in Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
and it's rampant. It's
Mhm.
rampant. And the people that are doing good, like the actual good police officers in Mexico,
They
don't-
get fucking shot, or they
Yeah.
never seen or heard of ever again.
Yeah. I recommend highly Ed's Manifesto.
It's manifesto. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this guy, he helps a lot of people. He's used to be a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
and he trains constantly with he trains a lot of people on the military here in the U.S. and in Mexico, because he had dealings with kidnappings himself included,
Mm-hmm.
and he lived it all basically.
Yeah.
In TJ.
He's been through all that stuff.
Yeah, in Tijuana basically, like with the people that like during the caravan.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought, and a lot of people here in the valley, of course, thought that, oh, they're gonna come through through Texas. It's the shortest distance from Central America all the way over here.
Mm-hmm.
On my mind, I think they're gonna go to California because they help.
It's a sanctuary state.
It's a sanctuary state, but the most obvious reason why is if there's criminals in that caravan, MS-13, Calle 18,
Yeah.
they don't want to get into the territory of Los Zetas in the Gulf.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because
I heard that the caravan had some run-in with some of the Zetas.
yes,
Yeah.
they had, and they've been massacred.
Jesus.
There's been, I understand that they want to have a better life, but there's been cases like with the Frijol woman.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And then
She refused to eat.
yes,
Yeah, beans.
and have people tell me, "Oh, it's because it's a different culture." I'm like, I know I have a person that doesn't even have papers from Guatemala, Honduras, and they eat whatever that you give them.
Yeah.
They're very grateful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's I think a key difference. And like in a previous episode, I had touched on, the white liberal always saying the Mexicans can do no wrong. They're just the perfect people. Let them all come in and all that stuff. And it's like, look, man, that's not the case.
Yeah.
There's some people who want to do and cause legitimate harm, and people who live on the border know about all that stuff.
And
so
we can say the same thing about people that come from America to the United States.
Yeah.
They go to Cancun.
Yeah.
Or any other English, tourist spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know how easy it is to go to Mexico and live there?
Not very.
Okay, so you kill a person here, you just go to Mexico and you just revise your tourist visa every 6 months.
I had
That's
no
it.
idea.
And
Wow.
you live there forever.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dang.
There's Americans living like that. Like with what happened with those Mormons up in Sinaloa when they killed them.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If you look at it there, there's a big lithium mine. So
Oh wow.
there's a lot of
Lithium goes to our phones, boys.
yeah, and this is what I don't like about with American policies with business, and that's why there's a lot of Mexican people, nationalists, that despise American intervention in Mexico. Mexico just wants to have their business for them, and for
By
Mexico,
them, yeah.
exactly, make Mexico greater again
Yeah.
for Mexico. And that's what I
Fuck
approve.
yeah.
Exactly, man. I want that for Mexico. What I really want for the border is to have a border culture, not a very restrictive culture. Think about it like Singapore, a great little island nation. It's small, but it has a lot of trade, and
They're very strict.
Yeah.
it's more.
That's
It's
what I heard too.
Yeah, you can't chew gum, but it's a great place to make business. It's a basically a capitalist state with a little bit of authoritarianism.
Yeah, I remember Obama was pitching the TPP deal, and Trump, as soon as he got elected, he was like, "Nope, not gonna happen."
Yeah,
Well, and one of the things, going to touch on that point, I would like to see that, but with the amount of corruption
Yes.
and cartel influence, that like you can't do as an American, you can't really do business with people in Mexico, because if you're not working with whoever they want you to work with, or if you're trying to negotiate a deal, they don't have any qualms about coming over here, making you disappear. And
Yeah,
then,
they want you to work at their terms.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why get rid of the police and introduce private security.
In Mexico or here?
They're already doing that in Mexico.
Okay.
That increases business. That increases because you're gonna have violence everywhere. So, and in the Middle East, Central America, very violent places.
Yeah.
There's a thriving market, and people tap into it. Veterans and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they don't see it as a dead end. They see it as a business opportunity, a
Right.
place where I can train these people and help them, get, better training. And I handle their business as well. I protect their business, security.
Right.
And
Just like there's security guards in America that
no,
just
but a little bit more like towards policing as well.
yeah. Well,
Creating
it's more intense, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you're the level of protection that you're offering. It's not like a security guard here who might just have a pair of handcuffs and some pepper
Yeah.
spray. You're exactly. Yeah,
You're
you're over
the
there. You got your
mercenary
vest.
right there.
Exactly. You got your M4, your AR-15, whatever.
And that's what we lack here in the border towns. It's dangerous. It's a little not in the valley gets a lot of the bad rap. It's not a very, very violent place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I
We
think
have
it's mostly peaceful for the
Yeah,
most part.
I think we have a good normal life, but there are pockets.
There's corruption.
There's pockets of corruption here. There's pockets of violence. There's, watch out for people trying to, if you're a single mom and,
Be
all of this.
careful.
Exactly. There's definitely reason to be careful, right?
And I
To be
think-
extra cautious. But yeah,
I think the most violent place here in the valley was Donna. And that
not Peñitas.
No, not Peñitas.
I would have never thought that it'd be one of those places.
very close where I live.
I would have thought that it would have been more like La Jolla, right?
No, Donna was I think 4th, and
Oh,
the northern cities in how you call it, in Texas was the most violent. Lubbock, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Lubbock.
That's where
I would have. Yeah, that's
those
where a
were
friend of ours is
sketches,
from.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes it up for that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's insane how far it reaches, but it's also, again, going back to the, just open the borders and just let everybody roam free.
No,
It's like,
it just needs to be really regulated
right.
and
Yeah.
more. I'm not for open borders. I'm just open for more flow
And-
of better things for goods and everything.
I agree with you there, and it's kind of like going back to something we had mentioned before. It's like we want the same things, but we have different means of
Exactly.
getting to those things, right? So it's like, instead of arguing how to get there, we should just have a conversation like we are now. So like in my opinion, I think we get there by acknowledging that there is a border crisis and that we need more border security. Now, I'm willing to negotiate those terms, right? I'm willing to see where can we meet in the middle where we both agree, like, okay, that's
what Trump did, honestly, with the wall. For me, that was a stupid thing. I knew something was gonna happen. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be built, but very, very terribly. And
the lowest price materials, right?
yeah.
Well,
and
I'm going to say I was optimistic for the wall, so that's where we have a difference. But
yeah,
I can see your
my,
points.
My alternative was spend all that money on more training for the border patrol.
Yeah, that's fair.
More boots on the ground, a better,
And give former military that, like you said,
Chance.
who were like looking into mercenary work, they can put their efforts.
Not say mercenary. A lot of people don't like that word.
Okay, well, but let's say for that sake,
Security work,
private security work,
Private
right?
security
Put
work.
put that put those skills, to use, and and kind of like what Trump is doing already. He's
Yeah.
pulling our troops back.
And respect the land, because there's people that did not want that wall in their property, but eminent domain. I'm for limited government as much as possible,
Right.
and this just stepped on your thing, basically.
I agree with that, but however, I disagree in the sense
Security,
that those like little open spots of land, like how much money will people be able to take, for them to be able to let people cross.
It's like with any person, in your, think about your land and wherever it was, they need to build a highway, and you live there for generations or whatever. Your grandma gave you this, so it has something special towards you, and they're gonna trash it and just build a highway over you. How much is your family's legacy? How much money? How much is it worth?
What's it
Yeah.
worth? Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
and maybe think about it. This is what people were fighting for.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that were against it because of that, because family comes first.
I agree with that sentiment. But then at the same time, a highway is a lot different than a wall on a border country that's
Yeah,
Well, there was a
constantly-
lot of, like I said, Native American things.
No, yeah, for sure.
and
That
then-
too.
So it's like stepping on your ancestry and your family.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you have your grandmother, your family generations full, and that's where I can say that. Yeah, I would rather have a lot of people patrolling than have.
That makes sense, but gosh, man, like
Yeah.
like I see
To
how
cover,
we
to cover all that ground.
I see how like
a mobile wall.
I see how like we disagree, right? And I would have never been able to have this type of awesome conversation if
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
for
if-
sure. Like, regardless of where we stand,
Yeah.
I respect
Fuck
your
yeah.
opinion,
Exactly.
and I love having this conversation. And I think this
That's
is what
good.
politics needs more of.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
politics.
Somewhere here, there's
middle ground.
Yeah,
A
somewhere
middle
here,
ground.
there's a solution. But of course, we're not in the position to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
more changes. But
This is just our opinion,
Right,
and this is
but-
how I see it.
exactly.
But
I'm not gonna
that's-
change you that you want a wall. You can't change
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And I respect that.
But I see your points, and
You
you
make
have
amazing points, man. I know like how much family means to you, and like
Yeah.
I love that. And like like we can disagree back and forth, but like
And I think,
this would never happen if we just didn't. You know, if we just shut each other out.
if you had just called us racist bigots because we told you we were pro-Trump without getting to hear
or
us out,
built that wall completely.
and if we had just been like, oh well, you're probably a communist because you know whatever, you don't like Trump or whatever, then we would have never come here and reached this point.
This is what happens in modern day universities. Communist, Nazi, and it's tiresome. Honestly, sooner or later, something bad is gonna happen. It's gonna get worse.
It's already
and like
happening.
I said, exactly. And people are gonna tired, and they gotta go to the very extremes.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that in both sides.
No,
But
for sure.
We have our like with that person saying BLM, support her and say her name, to that one person that was just wanted to eat a burger.
Oh yeah.
And
You heard that on our first podcast, right?
no, I saw it on video.
Oh, awesome.
And I
Okay,
was like,
great.
Yeah,
we didn't mention that.
yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
I mean that's
And
oppressive.
yeah, and then it goes on both sides with with Trump supporters. There's pockets of Trump supporters that are generally really racist, don't want you to have anything to do with Latinos here, Latinos or gays or anything like that. You have your bad people on both sides.
Yeah.
And I see on the Trump supporters that because I go to I go to the web a lot. I see on both sides, both on socialist sides and racist
But it's
sides.
the loudest voices that drowns our own personal views.
Exactly.
They silence us so that we
like
can't
we're-
even talk to each other.
Yeah, it's like with the people that are transvestites. Wait, yeah,
Transgender, yeah.
Transgender.
The people that are doing their voicing are people that I'm like, really, are you really transgender? And they're saying, if you don't date a transgender person, you're
I've seen
transphobic or this
Yeah.
phobic. And I'm
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if you don't date a Trump supporter, are you this kind of phobic?
Right.
That makes you a bigot.
That's a fair.
Exactly.
That's a fair point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is just ridiculous. Son.
It's this crazy radical narratives that they are pushing. that
Radical-
they don't even believe in themselves, but they just want to be so accepted and be
Right.
part of that
Yeah.
little social class.
And they'll cancel even their own favorite things.
And this is where again between Democrats and Republicans, like I feel like the Democrats, they are making it harder and way more exclusive to be in their little club than it is for Republicans. Like most Republicans, for
We just
for
wanna be left alone.
good or bad,
Yeah.
But they're generally more accepting of people who are like curious or inquisitive about what's going on or whatever. But I feel like Democrats are like, oh well, we're pro this, right? And if you're not, well then you're all of these bad things and you can't be a part of us. And then that separates them further from the moderate base of the Democrats, where it's just, like I said, normal people who just want to be a Democrat and not have to, like I said, subscribe to the notion of like you have to be okay with child drag queen shows, right? Like all that
All
stuff.
this nasty stuff.
That's terrible,
Just
man.
stuff
Yeah,
like
so-
that, right? It's like you can't even be a normal person anymore. You have to subscribe to all these radical ideas and be a socialist and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's
You don't even get to read the terms and conditions. You just
Exactly.
agree.
And I've seen that on the other side as well. The reason there's a lot of leftist people on the Democrat side that are turned off to the Republican side is because they still have that notion of those tiny pockets in the Trump supporters and the Republican
right that are really far right.
are really far right and really racist, so they don't want to dig in or
Right.
anything like that. It's fear.
Yeah, and
It's
I
fear in
and I
themselves.
understand that fear because
It's just like with you. You wouldn't be a Democrat because of those things. You wouldn't want to even be a moderate Democrat because of those things.
yeah.
And for me, that's why I get turned off by both sides. One side is a really, really, really nationalistic and tribalist. One side is you want to be property of the government. And then I
And
don't want.
that is not good.
it's
That is not good at all.
Neither
It's
is
not
good.
Neither is good because no one's gonna benefit at all. Only one certain person.
Only the rich people, the 1%ers,
yes,
they're
I
gonna
know.
benefit. And
The
and
deep
while,
state.
while
Yeah.
the rest of us, we get left out. And that was my biggest problem as well with Obama. it was this economy that it felt like everybody was getting left out, and that's why Donald Trump took it to the working class, because it seemed like Obama was just catering to the corporations, right? They just wanted to make their cheap manufacturing somewhere else, and then a lot of American jobs were being wiped off.
Yeah,
You know,
and
he
what
took out the coal industry altogether.
And what I saw now, like during these hard times, there's a lot of people that, like I remember back in the day, Alex Jones. If
Yeah.
any one of you.
The guy who turned he was
gay
like
frogs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know Alex Jones. If you remember him, and back in the day, he was very different. He was moderate. He was not like this. But with Trump, and but once he got Trump, he was like, and a lot of people got turned off because of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But once he said something about pedophilic rings and all that kind of stuff,
Everyone was crazy, right?
Yeah, I know everyone was saying, no, he's crazy. And all that
Yeah.
kind of, and now there's a lot of moderate Republicans and even some moderate Democrats that are saying, save our children.
Yeah, and the pedophile rings and all that stuff.
Epstein and all that kind of stuff. And
Do you
I'm
think
like-
go ahead.
yeah, and I was saying that, well, then Pizzagate was real. And a lot of people were saying, no, he's just crazy.
Yeah,
See what happened.
WikiLeaks is fake, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the funniest thing for me, was that like I think Alex Jones is just funny. I think
Exactly.
for the most part, he's just putting on a show or whatever. But it was funny to see like this crazy, how he was kind of acting wacky and like interdimensional child molesters. He kind of goes really deep. But then like when there's a semblance of truth, and then you're like, oh what the heck, like you know what I mean? It's a trip.
I think it's almost like he has to do that, act crazy, and say it like, because otherwise they're coming for him.
And it's
But do you
You're
think
right.
that these Black Lives Matter movements, like they're all in like COVID or anything, like all these things that are going on in the world, do you think they're just kind of like as a cover so that we don't focus on these pedophile rings that are being taken down?
Well, why isn't the media talking about it? Right?
It just doesn't occur here in the United States. It occurs in other
yeah.
places like in Europe and all those places. And there's been high-profile people getting arrested. A lot of Democrats, a couple of Republicans, and people are even connecting it now to Trump. And it's gonna show sooner or later, because for me, how I think, if you're friends with money and you do favors for people with money, you're gonna end up on their, their things. You're doing something with money, and when you're friends with money, you're friends for life, basically.
Yeah.
But one thing you have to remember is that Trump is not part of that old money from that's just been handed down centuries.
Well, he did get a loan, but to start it up. But the thing is
but he didn't have to cater to them, right?
No, he
He's
didn't
like
have
a
to
maverick, and he's like an outcast of those rich, popular people.
But I think it's also like a show for many people, because
it's like, because I remember Hillary was at Trump's wedding.
Go to prison. Remember Hillary for prison?
Yeah.
How many Trump supporters are like, when is she in prison?
Yeah.
That's one.
What was that slogan?
Hillary for prison.
Because you'd be in jail.
Lock her up. Yeah.
Lock her up. But see, this is where fanaticism comes in. I'm thinking that he hasn't done it because they were friends. There's some connection.
You think so?
Well, if you really, really wanted to do it, man, you would have done it right there and then. And for your if it's something really, really terrible, like with pedophilia, you wouldn't care about anything. You would.
That would be your priority.
That would be your priority, even though it was money. But
I think and this is because I'm also like, I've also gone down the rabbit holes, and I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I don't let that influence my political decisions.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, I go by what can be proven, right? As much as I may not like Hillary because I think she's an evil person, at the end of the day, I can't prove any of that, and neither could the list of people who's been killed, whoever testified for her, right? But that's the thing. Like, I until something is concrete, I don't think that it'll hold too much weight in my decision ultimately. But from what I have seen, a lot of it doesn't incriminate Trump. There's definitely some things there, but there was a whole like he stopped talking to Epstein after like a few
Yeah.
business dealings or whatever, and then he they were not
There's
close at
there's
all.
no Bill Clinton getting backrobs from
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Right.
Epstein himself.
And then that's the thing. So it's like was definitely more important to make that investigation than it
Yes.
was for the Russia probe.
Oh,
Right,
Oh,
so
the
like
Russia
that-
probe, yeah. Even there's a
So
lot of-
yeah, you can say that's if it was
So-
really something, then they would have gone after it instead of going to try to
Yeah.
take down the
And so-
presidency
so
through the Russia probe.
Even though I'm a Trump supporter, if there's any legitimacy to that, I do want
Yeah.
that investigation. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh well, Trump probably didn't do it. No, if
Yeah.
there's a something there to investigate,
if there's wrong in any level of government or anybody,
well, the
really,
Russian probe was just a whole shit show.
it
man.
was.
It was.
Even
And-
for everyone, in here in the valley, there's a lot of people that he's gonna get this and impeached. He's impeached, but it's not taken out of office. I'm like,
yeah,
Right.
a lot of people don't.
a lot of people
not-
didn't. A lot of people
not-
didn't understand that.
yeah, I did not understand impeachment. I'm like,
It's like
You guys-
impeachment is just the trial
trial.
to
That's it.
yeah.
and you have to get taken out by the
The
Senate, and the majority are Republicans. And you see right now, there's a lot of Republicans going against Trump right now. A lot of people flipping tables.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh shit. There's the never Trumpers.
never Trumper Republicans. It's,
Yeah, like Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney honestly was at first a good candidate. I actually liked his ideas because he wanted to help a lot in Mexico because he has family in Mexico.
Yes.
Juarez, because he
Wow.
was a Mormon.
Oh wow.
He would have been a better president than Obama, honestly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
nobody took that into account. It was
Yeah.
a well-spoken, well-mannered African American man that everybody saw, and that guy could make you feel things. He could talk, and he could make you feel things.
He had a
Yeah,
silver
and
tongue.
that's it. That's it. It's just a feel good thing that people want to get back.
Which is
And the
why when you contrast Trump to Obama,
Yeah.
I get it. People are like, oh, he's such a bad guy. He's this, he's that. But it's
He has
like,
a brash tongue.
but
Yeah.
he's just for me, he just sounds like a normal guy talking. He doesn't sound like a politician. He just
Yeah,
sounds.
Yeah,
like,
it's not rehearsed. It's not
It's
this
just
poll
like-
tested things like the Democrats have.
And I heard all his speeches. Yes, there's some things I don't agree with. Some things he probably, but that's it. He's just a foul mouth. That's it.
Mhm.
There's some things I may say is racist, but I'm not gonna say he is.
Yeah,
His policies may go against, some of the things that people want to do, like cross here illegally and all this kind of stuff. If they want to do better for themselves, but we also need to see that there are criminals coming through
Absolutely.
this.
absolutely. Yeah,
But like I say, I come from people like that. Every person has at least family
Of
that are
course.
crossing
Yeah.
illegally, but they come here with an idea of actually working.
Yeah, and that's the difference.
Yes.
It's the difference between the hard workers that want to live the American dream like my parents did, and then there's a difference between people who want to hop over and take advantage of the welfare system and live off of it. And then we as, people who did it the right way and worked hard, our parents worked hard to give us a better life. We're all paying taxes to support people like that. And then that's an issue too. And so again, I'm not going to be super hard or super critical, but I want people who are going to be talking about politics to at least consider the fact that not everyone's perfect and not everyone's coming over here with good intentions.
Yeah.
And if we can bridge that gap, I think we can actually make some changes. But it's just right now it's a hard left or right issue. It's like all
Yeah.
Mexicans are good, open the borders, and then
yeah. I want to
all
be able to
Mexicans are
disagree
bad,
or
blah, blah,
agree
blah.
on policy, not whatever the mudslinging things are.
Like with me, with the libertarian policies, I don't want anyone getting to my business. Say if I open up a shop,
Yeah.
that includes with illegal immigration. If they want to have illegal immigrants that are working for them, let them.
Yeah.
And I know this is like a it's controversial because you don't have them. And people will think of it as slave labor, but all in all, you're helping them work. And
Well, my problem is the people that will take advantage of those
Yes.
and not
Right.
pay them
Yeah.
fair wages
Right.
that they
but
deserve.
it's for the people that actually do those kind of things. It's big business that takes advantage of the small ones.
Yeah,
If it's a small business, they're mostly tight knit and say, "Hey, what's up, Jose or Juan?"
Yeah.
Typical
yeah,
names.
yeah.
And you've been here for a long time and all that, and they help each other.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, government shouldn't, get, into the businesses of people, and you have to be very, very lenient.
Right.
And that's what I think in my policies.
And see, here's where I differ, because I agree with you. Some of those people do exist, and they're really good people, and they treat illegal immigrants with respect.
Like family.
My dad, personally, he's known people who, again, came over here illegal and stuff like that, and he's asked them, and some people, small time, have taken advantage of them. There was this one guy who was hiring, he had like 13 or 14 workers, but he was paying them dog shit, just like really
minimum
poor,
crumbs,
making them work twice as a regular person would. And then my dad was like, well, why are you working for such piece of shit wages?
You deserve to get more.
And his response was like, oh, well, no, well, he bought a trailer and the 13 of us are living in it on his property.
Fuck, really? Whoa, shit.
So
slumlords right there.
So I want to agree with you and say, like, yes, that should be something to give opportunities to some people, but then we gotta watch out for those that really are, that they're just, like you said, slumlords.
Yeah.
They're people that are looking for to take
and
advantage
we're gonna
of
have
them.
that, and even in the most controlled thing, and that's why we have to
Even in the prison system.
exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That is crazy, right?
Yeah.
and it used to be very different. What we need to do, like for me in business, and whatever you want to do with your business, run your life like a business, and your business kind of like a little country as well. A good example, like I say, and I bring up Singapore, the whole little island nation, the whole little city state is run just like a business.
Yeah.
It's the most mixed place.
It may seem cold to the untrained eye, but it's effective for running a business.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, even with they do have their little authoritarian.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
But it's mostly capitalist, so that's a good thing. But on the other hand, like I said, it should be no business of the government to look up your business, and that's where I stand, because you as a person need to control your business.
Okay.
Even if you have, like, say,
it's a person, right? It's a taking care of another person. It's an entity.
Like I would like if you run your business and you have people that don't have papers, have your business have a way to get them into citizenship.
Oh sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, that would be great.
And what I did
and have incentives to do that.
But then unfortunately that requires government regulation, does it not?
Yes, it's true. Yeah, but like I said, it's by your choice, basically.
Right.
Your choice of business. If you don't, or yes, it's like I say, the beauty of voluntarism. You volunteer, it's your choice. And what was I gonna say? You choose what you want to do. And one of the things that happened during this administration with Trump, and what I really didn't like was deportation of veterans.
Oh, okay.
I've seen that. Yeah, where they
TJ has a lot of veterans right now. All of them talk
Tijuana?
English. Yeah.
Okay.
Tijuana. All of them talk English.
Wow.
Deported. And I mean, like,
they were born in Mexico, right, and served, and then they never got their papers or something.
Exactly. And
wow.
There's Vietnam veterans. There's Iraq, and there's
well, I definitely don't believe in that.
Yeah.
No, I like I said, even though I'm a Trump supporter, I can acknowledge where the dude has his flaws, and whereas he may or may not be directly involved with that, I still don't agree with it. I don't like that either. I think anybody who's served this country deserves to be here.
I think the big problem is that we're not able to highlight those issues because of the things that
talking about them.
Yeah, because of the things that go on that are the media just tries to push the veil that hides the things that they're really going on.
Even England, like Great Britain, all that kind of stuff, and France have a problem, and they saw that with why are they deporting one of the veterans, a person that fought for your soil? Because what they do, like with the French Foreign Legion, they get people from around the world
to fight for them.
Exactly, and you have your stay basically. If these guys did it, you fought,
You
risk your
deserve
life,
it. You fucking deserve it.
Exactly, more than any kind of person.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing that I've always, been strong about. I don't like seeing veterans sleeping under bridges, being homeless
Exactly.
because, just because or one thing or another, right? They're forgotten by society, but yet the Democrats are so willing to cater to illegal immigrants.
We have free phones for the people. We have they're living
and
in
they wanna,
wire tents,
and they want to give them more, and they want to give them, all of these benefits to coming over and by breaking the law that we still have to address that issue of veterans being taken care of.
And for veterans and all that kind of stuff, help them out with more business adventures and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or teach them what benefits they have. A lot of the people that come out of the military, they might not know what. Yeah,
I had to do a lot of research
to figure out what you had that was owed to you by the government.
Yeah,
and the thing is, when you come out of the military, I'm not a person of a military background. I have a couple cousins, but that's it. I know I'm a veteran here. The guy's 50 and he's still in school since the 90s.
Wow.
Here, an alcoholic and all that kind of stuff. And he still hasn't finished college. But
he's got his GI Bill, right? And he uses it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I say this.
That's 30 months, man, that you get.
No, he did. He went to Iraq, I don't know, for 20 years already. But
No, but I mean, like the benefits. It's 30 months of education.
Yeah.
So he must have been taking like 1 or 2 classes at a time.
Yeah, he's not there. He's an alcoholic and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's still doing what he can, but what I see with the current lineup of veterans and new age, a lot of them come with drug addictions, alcoholism, depending on some things. And lack of research sometimes, or they just go in for certain things. And then you see a big influence of Mexicans in the military because we do the dirty work. The highest ranks, Mexican Americans. We're the killers. We do the dirty work for this country.
Oh damn!
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of gangbangers as well.
I have heard of that.
That you can actually fill up Fort Hood, basically.
Damn.
Full of gangbangers.
Wow.
I've been to Fort Hood. It's big.
Terrible base, basically, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, especially with all the stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, and they probably just, because of the lack of people speaking up against these crazy things, it just drives this environment where you're pretty much a hostage in a small-time base.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, man. Thank you. I love that you were willing to come here and have a great discussion on actual things that matter.
Absolutely.
Instead of like just wanting to not hear it or
fight or just call
fight. Yeah, no, I respect you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah,
I love this. I like the moment like we started to disagree on things is when I felt more passionate than anything, and I felt like, wow, you have some good points. And then this is how we make it better.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot from you now. And I've also realized there's a lot of more stuff that I need to Google and research because of the sit down. So I appreciate that. This is how the
university should be run.
Exactly.
We need not to baby each other.
Yeah, the fact that I felt I had to do this outside of the university it speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah, basically, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, but thank you so much, David. Thank you, Oscar, for coming along and joining and being part of this conversation. And hopefully that we can help change minds in the way we run things and the way we talk to each other as society. So thank you, guys.